I'm Meredith with Extreme Terrain, and in this video I'm covering different types of exhaust systems and how to choose the right one for your 5.7 liter Tundra. Now there are so many to choose from, and each one is different in a number of different ways. Now I'm going to break down the types within 3 different categories of sound, materials, and configuration so you can pick and choose what is going to be best for your Tundra and your lifestyle. And I do also want to call out that you'll be seeing these on a mix of generation Tundras, but these styles are available for all years and models right here on our site. Now don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos just like this, where we break down different categories of mods and of course our product review and install videos. Now sound is what you most of the time associate exhaust with, and it single-handedly is one of the most important factors that you have to consider for a number of different reasons. Now you have to take your lifestyle into play, whether you're commuting on the highway a lot, you're driving your truck daily, or only go off-road, or just from time to time you're driving it. Now you also have to think about your comfort noise level and what you want to hear in the cab with the windows up and with the windows down. Now those levels of volume range between mild, which is closest to stock, medium, which will be a step up, and right in the middle, and loud with a decent volume increase. Taking a closer look at our mild option, this is the sound level that will bring a deeper tone to the table while keeping the volume increased to a minimum. Now one of the exhaust systems that represents this best is the Flowmaster FlowFX dual middle side exit exhaust system with the black tips, and we have a sound clip here to show you the sound level, so let's go ahead and take a listen. Now, as you just heard, this is going to add to the sound of your exhaust, but much more in tone rather than the volume, so it's not going to be overbearing. Now, when it comes to the loudness meter, this will sit at a 2 out of 5, with 1 being stock and 5 being wake the neighbors loud. So again, you're not getting a lot of volume here, but you can definitely hear the change in the tone. This is mainly due to the muffler type. Now, this will have a straight-through style design muffler, but Flowmaster keeps it a bit quieter with packing around the perforated free flow core to deaden that noise and eliminate any excess volume. Now you can also hear the exhaust from the interior when you're really on it, shifting through gears, but as soon as you stop and you're cruising, it quiets down and is hidden pretty well. Now this is really great if you don't want much noise at all in the cab, especially if you spend a lot of time in your truck or on the highway and you just want a quiet environment and also a bit more of aggression when it comes to sound. Our next exhaust, however, will step it up a bit. Now this is going to be our medium category, where we still have that lower and rich tone, but we get some more volume and aggressiveness to the exhaust that ups the ante. Now this system representing this category is the Rough Country dual side exit and rear exit exhaust system with black tips. Let's listen to a sound clip of this one. Now this will be a 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter, and from that clip you can hear that this is going to be more open and freer flowing. Now like the mild option, this will also include a straight through style muffler, but increased sound in the medium option is usually due to less packing, and in this particular option, this is going to have 2 inlets and outlets, which will produce more sound due to the freer flowing nature. Now as I said, that's going to put this right in the middle. It's going to be loud enough to bring a lot of aggressive street presence to the truck without being overbearing or annoying when it comes to exterior or interior volume. Now in my opinion, this sound level is just enough to hear it a bit more for the enthusiast who wants to listen to their exhaust when they get on the throttle, but not so much when they're normally driving around and in more of that cruising territory. The last level in our sound category is loud, and this is where we really start to bring that volume to the table, and this type will be right up your alley if you like to hear your exhaust system. Now the exhaust that represents the loud genre the best is the Carbon Exhaust single side exit exhaust system with the ceramic black tip. Let's take a listen. As you heard, heard, this is going to be a lot more aggressive, even out of a single side exit exhaust system, putting this at a 4 out of 5 on the loudness meter. A muffler type will still have the straight through style design like the last two, but this muffler will be significantly smaller and will have a packless design, which will increase that volume and give the 5.7 liter a deep and aggressive tone. Now, when it comes to interior noise, like I said, you are going to get a decent amount with a loud system, but most of the time it's not going to be completely overbearing or annoying, especially if you're expecting it and want a louder system for your Tundra. Now again, comfortability with volume level really comes down to your lifestyle and your tolerance, but if you like the way that your truck sounds when you really open up the exhaust and you want to hear it most of the time, then this is going to be the category to shop in. Now, some systems will even come with an additional resonator to reduce drone and interior noise to make those louder systems more comfortable inside the cab, to try to get the best of both worlds. But with a louder exhaust, it's inevitable that you'll have at least some of that interior noise. Now, exterior noise, on the other hand, will be sure to turn some heads, so if loud is what you want, this category is it. The next category that we need to break down is materials. Exhausts are made of mainly 3 types of materials that all have different characteristics, lifespans, and prices. Now, there are 3 main materials that are most commonly used, being aluminized steel, 409 stainless steel, and 304 stainless steel. Let's check them out. Starting with aluminized steel, this will be your most affordable option, which is great if you're looking to save a bit of cash when it comes to an exhaust system. Now, representing this type of material is the MBRP Armor Light single side exit exhaust system with the polished tip. Now, taking a closer look at the makeup of this system, this is made of a steel material covered in an aluminized finish that will help resist rust build up on the steel underneath. This system isn't fully resistant to surface rust in wetter and saltier climates like the coast or winters where salt is laid, but the good thing is that it won't affect the sound over time. Now, the one part of the exhaust that you would see, however, is the tip. Now, this option and most others like it will use a 304 stainless steel tip, which is resistant to rust and corrosion over time and will keep that part that you do see looking brand new for years to come. Now, the big takeaway from this exhaust type is that this is going to be on the affordable side of the spectrum compared to others in the mid 400 range, thanks to those materials. So if you don't mind what the underside of your exhaust looks like over time while still getting a material that's going to maintain good durability and save you some cash for getting some better sound and a better look for your Tundra, this option may be for you. Next on the list is 409 stainless. Now, this material is the middle ground when it comes to exhaust system. Now, this is going to be a step up from aluminized steel, getting into that stainless category. Now, this example for 409 stainless is the Flowmaster FlowFX dual side exit exhaust system with the black tips. Now, stainless in general is going to be more rust resistant than steel, simply because of the added elements like chromium and nickel that are added in the material and add to that rust resistant characteristics to the makeup of the metal. Now, this will allow it to hold up very well over time and see a bit less surface rust, especially in those saltier areas. Now, although it is a bit better when it comes to resisting oxidation on the surface of the metal, 409 is not completely rust resistant. Now, again, being that one of the only parts of the exhaust that you're really going to see is the tip or tips in this scenario, that's usually going to be made of a higher quality material, 304 stainless to be specific, it's not really going to matter most of the time when it comes to the looks. Now, because the materials are a step up here from our last option, the price is also going to reflect that. Now, this one, for example, is at that mid-range 700 point. That makes it a great option for balance if you're looking for a longer lifespan out of your exhaust system, no matter where you live, thanks to the qualities of the stainless, while also saving some cash compared to a higher grade option. The last material on the list is 304 stainless, and this is the highest quality material used for exhaust for a number of different reasons. Now, the exhaust that I'm using to highlight this type of material is the Carbon Exhaust single side exit exhaust system with ceramic black tip. Now, first and foremost, this system is incredibly rust resistant because of the high amounts of chromium and nickel compared to other materials, which will make this system incredibly durable and give it that super polished look, as you can see with the carbon option. Now, 304 stainless will be ideal if you're looking to invest in a very long-lasting system, especially if you live in the Rust Belt or somewhere that experiences higher contents of road salt. Now, over time, the material will just have a tint to it rather than see any rust, which will keep it looking new and is one of the reasons that most tips on exhaust systems, no matter what the rest of the material is, will use 304 since that's the one part that you see the most of. While it's extremely durable, it's also more expensive and will be in the premium price range compared to other choices. Now the systems can range in price depending on the layout, but are usually $800 plus. Now this one by Carvin is on the lower side because of the more stock configuration. Now 304 is worth the price though if you're specifically looking for an exhaust that will last in harsh conditions and will look good for many, many years to come. Our last category that we're looking at when it comes to choosing an exhaust system for your Tundra is configuration, or how the exhaust is set up. Now each setup, it makes a big difference when it comes to the look, but it also affects the sound and the price as well, making it something that you definitely want to consider for your build, so let's dive into it. The first type of exhaust we're looking at is a middle side exit exhaust system. Now, as you can tell from the name, this setup is exactly how it sounds. Now, the exhaust featured in this video is the Flowmaster FlowFX dual middle side exit exhaust system with the black tips, and here's how it sounds. This system will come down from the back of the catalytic converter piping and take a hard left before the rear wheel. Now this gives the system a super sporty appeal because of the dual tip design reminiscent of aftermarket or custom exhaust, and the fact that it is a bit more unique than some of the more common setups. Now as you can see, the dual black tips coming out right before the tire really add to that custom look of the truck. Now another big benefit that you do get besides the cool look is the fact that this is going to be helpful when it comes to taking your truck off-road. Now most of the time exhaust can get busted up thanks to the longer wheelbase, departure angles, but moving the exhaust up a bit will minimize potential damage to the system, which is going to be great if you're hitting the dirt often or just once in a while. Now one thing that can definitely be noticed with a middle side exit system is cab noise. Now because it is closer to the cab, you do get a bit more interior noise than most rear exit systems, which isn't necessarily a big deal if you get a less rowdy system like this option, or you simply just don't mind the extra sound it produces. Now to this specific exhaust benefit, this is a quieter system, so although you will hear it, it's not going to be too noisy. Now this type is also pretty easy to install compared to other systems because it's short and there's not a whole lot going on with the system. Now usually you would think that that would also help when it comes to price, but these can range to the middle to high end of the spectrum, mainly because of the more custom build compared to other simpler systems. Now this one specifically sits at the lower side at $800 as far as that price point, but is worth the investment if you want that custom feel. Second up is a single side exit exhaust system, and this is probably one of the most common setups that you'll see and is what comes factory on the Tundra. Now this is more of a simplistic setup, and a great example of this type of exhaust is one that we looked at earlier, which was the MBRP Armor Light single side exit exhaust system with the polished tip. Now let's take a listen to the sound clip. Now the looks are usually a bit more toned down with this style, and same goes for the interior noise. Now because this exits from the back of the truck and is only on one single side, you're not going to get a whole ton of interior noise, but that does depend on the sound level of the exhaust system. If it's more mild to medium, it will be pretty comfortable inside the cab, but if you have a loud system, you can still expect to hear some sound come through. Now regardless of sound, as you can see, this will have more of that simplistic look that the factory one has, but is elevated with the tip on the back, making it a great choice if you like the factory style, you just want a bit more out of the look. Now that simplicity will also show in the price point, usually being on the more affordable side, but will be dependent on the material as well. This one in particular is about $500 for example. Now the last big benefit of this type is the install, because this is very similar to the stock configuration, using all of the factory mounting points, making it pretty easy to put this on your truck. Now if you like simplicity, this is going to be the category to shop in. A step above a single side is a dual side exit, and this setup is just how it sounds. Now this will essentially be double the system we just looked at, which will add more of that custom feel when it comes to the look. This is definitely for the Tundra owner looking to make a statement with their truck when it comes to both appearance and sound. A system that we're looking at as an example is the Rough Country dual side and rear exit exhaust system with black tips, and here's a sound clip. Let's listen. Now dual side exit, this usually has the tendency to produce a bit more sound, especially on either side of the truck, because of where the flow is routed, being sure to turn some heads. Now, exiting in the rear, however, even though it may produce a bit more sound, the cab noise is usually going to be pretty toned down, depending on the volume level, of course. Now, the specific exhaust system has the ability to change configuration from dual side exit to dual rear, which is a pretty cool feature of the system, and we'll cover rear exit in just a second. Now, this will be a bit more tedious to install though because of the additional piping, but all these kits are going to come with hardware to accommodate for it. Nonetheless, you can see that this dual side exit configuration will have more of that custom feel to it than the last one that we looked at. Now, another factor when choosing this is the price. Now, this particular system is right around the $700 mark, being very affordable for what it is. However, with the nature of these systems having a bit more to the package than a single side exit, for example, they're usually going to have a higher price tag ranging from $800 plus. Now again, that will usually vary when it comes to what kind of material as well, so that's just another thing to keep in mind. But if sound and that aggressive look is what you're looking for, this is going to be the style to look at. The last system is on a very similar page as the one that we just looked at, even more so because it was included in the options for configuration, and that is the dual rear exit. Now, the one that we're looking at is the Flowmaster Outlaw dual side and rear exit system with black tips. Let's take a listen. Now, just like the dual side, this gives off more of that aggressive and custom vibe, although it is going to be a bit more common. Now, this will also keep some of the same sound characteristics. However, with the exhaust going straight out of the back of the vehicle, you should even hear less sound in the cab, since you're not going to hear it on the sides like the last two options that we looked at. But again, keep sound level in mind and take that into consideration. Now, one thing to note about this particular system is that the Outlaw is Flowmaster's loudest level exhaust, and the sound on this is still pretty comfortable inside the cab because of how the exhaust is run out the back. So if you want a loud system but want a quiet cab at the same time, this is a good configuration to look into. Now, like I mentioned with the last dual rear and side exit, they usually are a bit pricier, and that's represented well here, coming in at about $1,200. But keep in mind that this system is made of 409 and 304 as far as the materials are concerned, and has more to it than some of the other simplistic options, making it well worth that price point if you want these characteristics out of an exhaust system. Now, the look of the system is usually the kicker with the aggressive aesthetic, definitely catching some attention with the very sporty appeal. Now, if that's the look that you're going for while getting some good sound and a comfortable interior, this is the style to check out. As you can tell, there are a decent amount of things to consider when you're choosing an exhaust system for your 5.7 liter Tundra. Hopefully, I was able to break down the categories and what to look for so you can find the right combination of features that will fit your lifestyle with your Tundra. Again, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this, as well as other product review and install videos, and always remember to keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.